Hello, welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today I'd like us to go to the state of Oregon in the United States. So we're not going to be looking at a Japanese craft beer, but rather an American craft beer. And that is from Rogue Ales. And this is called Rogue Ales Gumberoo. And I'll let you wonder about that for a second while we talk a little bit about Rogue Ales. Rogue was founded in 1988, so a long time ago in terms of the craft beer movement, and it was founded in Ashland, Oregon, which is a small, I guess a large town, small city. I'll just call it a town near the coast. Near the border of Oregon and California, and it's quite famous for its annual Shakespeare Festival. I don't know anything else in that area that's quite well known, but certainly the Shakespeare Festival is something to see. And it was founded by three Nike executives, but very quickly they moved in the next year to the coastal city of Newport, Oregon, which is located not on the Rogue River, but on the Yakina River. The Rogue River is a little farther south, down near Gold Beach. And the head brewer was named John Mayer. I believe he's retired now. And he developed a lot of the beers that they brought out and helped them develop into quite a large regional brewery on the west coast of the United States. And they have 11 pubs on the west coast, and several of them in Portland, and I've been to a few. Their main brewer, however, is in Newport. And some pictures of that I'll put up here. And they also developed something called Pac-Man yeast, which they use in a lot of their beers. Pac-Man, P-A-C. I'm not sure if that's specific or if that's from the game Pac-Man. So Rogue has put out a lot of beers, over 400 on Rate Beer and over 600 on Untapped, so you can check out a lot of their different beers. And I also have a playlist of Rogue that I've done quite a few, so you can check out that, and I'll put a link to that as well. They also make spirits and cheese, and you can purchase those if you go to Portland to their brew pub in the Pearl District of Portland. All right, but now let's take a look at this beer, and I've never heard of this one before from them. It's called Rogue Gumberoo, and this is a West Coast IPA, and it is 6.8% and 66 international bittering units. And on Rate Beer, this one has 36 ratings only, so it's fairly new. The average is 3.54 out of 5, and 80 percentile for its style, which is on Rate Beer simply IPA. 80 percentile for all beers on Rate Beer, and 77 for its style, which is West Coast IPA. IPA simply on Rate Beer, and there's a lot of competition, so you have to be really good to get up into the higher percentiles there. Untapped 8,040 ratings when I checked, and the average was a little bit higher, 3.63 out of 5. And this is part of their kind of a new series they have called their Monsters of IPA. They have the one called Bat Squatch, which is a hazy IPA, and then another one called Colossal Claude, an Imperial IPA, and I have reviewed both of those. You can check those out as well. And Bat Squatch, of course, is clearly a kind of Sasquatch sort of animal, but a bat. So Sasquatch or the Yeti, the Abominable Snowman, that sort of thing. And Colossal Claude is a sea monster, because Rogue is located on a fishing port of Newport, Oregon. So 3 beers in their their IPA, Monsters of IPA lineup. And so this one is a kind of an unusual animal. Apparently, lumberers were cutting down trees, and this animal came out to scare them away. You can read about the story if you'd like. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you here. I have a little spider diagram, as you can see here. Gives you the different components. And the malt for this one is pretty simple. 2-row, Munich malt, and wheat malt. And the hops, quite a variety here. We've got Mosaic, Simcoe, Belma, and Idaho 7. And these are all good West Coasty IPA hops. I don't know Belma so well. The others I'm more familiar with. And Pac-Man yeast, which is their common yeast. This was 670 yen, or maybe around $5 or so US. Okay, shall we give this one a go? Oh, this one turned out to be a gusher and kind of blew out of the can really quickly here. Kind of surprising. I just checked the date on it. It seems fine. It should not be out of date. Okay, and let's give this one a go. Yeah, so it is a rather cloudy, sort of dark apple juice color with a rather thin, sort of frothy little head. And certainly I'm getting the kind of like packed fruit compote sort of nose with a dustiness of maybe some pine pollen or something like that. So it is piney, thick and fruity, maybe even something like figs, definitely overripe stone fruit. Okay, yeah. It's rather thick, medium heavy bodied, definitely. Kind of approaching double IPA in terms of body and flavor. It definitely has a strong, heavy, stone fruity, thick stone fruity, almost syrupy kind of flavor. Yeah, this is very much old school style, very definitely. And kind of thing I think that Rogue can probably do. They do this sort of thing rather well, the IPA style. And I think they were trying to give us a throwback sort of to what existed earlier, in the 90s, maybe early 2000s. Very pleasant, yeah. Kind of rich, almost maybe some honey sort of quality in it as well. The hops are certainly there, but we don't get a heavy bitter tracks. Definitely, it's not. It's influencing, it's complementing the malt, but it's not really taking over. Well done, kind of thick, but not messy. Definitely, you can separate the malt and the hops, certainly in the flavor. They blend very well, and I would say, yeah, this is definitely a nice one to try if you like the style, and I certainly do. The West Coast IPA style. Once again, this is called Rogue Gumberoo, a West Coast IPA at 6.8% and 66 IBUs, International Bittering Units. So give it a go. And why don't you leave me a comment and tell me your experience with Rogue, what you had from them, what you maybe like or don't like about them. I think I've mentioned before that Rogue is an early, one of the early brewers on the West Coast, certainly in 1988. It's early times for craft beer, and because of that, they probably don't get as much attention as they should. People tend to focus on the newer, the more radical kinds of extreme brewers. Rogue started at a time when things like sours were not a big deal, and they kind of get overshadowed, I think, now. But they still make very, very good beer. Yeah, so give them a go. Subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.